Hello! See, I tried, guys. Hi guys, it's Judy from Nutrition with Judy. Okay, I hope you guys are having a good week. Thank you for joining me today. I am very grateful for you guys. Please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. This allows me to provide you guys more free content. So today I am so excited. I had a conversation with Sonja Graf. For many of you carnivores, you probably have not heard of her, but it will all change after today. She is such a dynamic person. She is so much fun. She's funny and she is very real. She is a yogi and has been a practicing meditation yogi for over 20 years. And now she is blending yoga with carnivore, and she is an amazing individual. One thing I want to say is that we talk about her carnivore plus meditation program. If you guys decide to try out her 30-day program, you can get $20 off by mentioning that you got the discount code from Nutrition with Judy. I will have all the details of her program in the notes, so definitely check it out and email her or contact her through Instagram, and you can try out her 30-day program that may essentially change your life. All right, let's get into this. I am so excited for you guys to see the video. I'm with Judy, and today I am very excited. I am with Sonja Graf, and she is all things carnivore and yoga and fitness, nutrition, and I will let her introduce herself to those of you that don't know her. So Sonja, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Judy. I'm stoked to be here.
Yes, so please, if you can introduce yourself, let people know about you.
Okay, I'm Sonja Graf, as Judy said, and I am a certified yoga instructor. And I came by Carnivore a while back just because I was really, really sick, and it basically changed my entire life. So as I started diving in, women were seeing the change in me, both health-wise, physically, mentally, emotionally. I was just bursting open with complete happiness and joy. So women were sliding into my DMs and saying, okay, I want what you have. So I actually started a business about 6 months ago. It's called Soulful Savage Wellness and Healing. And it is carnivore based, has yoga, meditation, fitness, the whole thing. But the idea behind Soulful Savage is that instead of just how do I always say it? I actually stole it from a meme because memes give me life. Instead of just slaying our demons, we need to dissect them and find out what they've been feeding on. So because my background and my core value system, everything is about yoga, it's all about introducing dense nutrients into our diet, changing everything we thought we knew about nutrition and exercise, to be honest. I used to be the cardio queen. And now I very rarely do any cardio, and yet I'm the lightest weight I've ever been and have more dense muscle. And people are like, wait, you want me to do what? It came about through the carnivore way of life.
That's amazing. So how long have you been practicing yoga?
I started practicing yoga about 20 years ago. I started with Ashtanga. I got on my mat. Right after my divorce, I met a girl that said, you know what? She feared my wrath and didn't want to tell me everything I was doing was wrong. So she just dragged me into a yoga class. And from the moment I stepped on my mat, I realized, you know what? I call it the Church of Four Corners. Like, I can bullshit anyone anywhere, but when I'm on my mat, I have to be like 100% straight with me. So it's where I go and saved my life.
Prior to carnivore, what were you eating before carnivore?
Well, when I stepped on my mat 20 years ago, I was young, and I got into that whole mindset of, well, yogis are vegan and they do no harm. They practice ahimsa, practice no harm towards any living creature. So I tried to be vegan. And what happened, I found out very quickly, is that is not a lifestyle for me. I became very anemic. And I was in the hospital, and the doctor's like, I'm sorry, but you're the kind of person that actually needs to eat meat. Mm-hmm. So, that was nice to know because I loved meat.
Right.
Yeah. So that I just went back to, what I thought I knew, which was low fat, no fat, eating every 2 to 3 hours, smart carbs before a workout, my protein drinks, my protein bars, everything that I thought I knew that I'd picked up along the way through the gym and training and exercising. But then when I hit my 50s, actually about 45, something happened. I found just the tiniest little bald spot on my head. And I thought, well, that's really weird. I was going through a stressful time.
Sure.
And then it became a dime size. And then it was a quarter size. And then, like, as soon as it would start to fill in, another one would pop up. And for 7 years, Judy, I chased alopecia. And
yeah, that's what I would. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, like, I was like Donald Trump, just swooshing that hair around, trying to cover up the bald spots. And I was going to the dermatologist every 3 weeks, like clockwork, for up to 30 shots of cortisone in my scalp. I had 6 PRP treatments at $650 a pop, where they take your blood, spin the platelets, and inject it in your scalp, which, for the record, was like more painful than childbirth. Nothing worked. And I was putting on weight. I couldn't lose the belly fat. I was becoming lethargic. I started having pain in my lower back. And I was like, well, I'm getting older. Maybe that's it. But then it moved to my fingers. And I thought, you know what? I must have arthritis because I couldn't tie my shoes.
Right.
And it was just going from bad to worse in no time flat. So, and my husband's in the medical field. So he was sending me to every specialist. And I tell you, not one doctor ever asked me, how do you eat? What are you putting in your body? They did tests and they wrote prescriptions and they wanted to put me on big pharma, and it was all medicine, medicine, medicine. And finally, one doctor said, we think you have fibromyalgia. And I said, great. Well, we know what it is. What's the cure? Oh, there's no cure for fibromyalgia. So it was, again, big pharma. And at that point, I was desperate. And I turned to a girl that I went through yoga teacher training with, Healthy with Nicole. And nutritionist. Yeah, she and I went through teacher training together, and she was vegan, and we'd gotten to be friends, and she was having very similar symptoms to me. She was telling me that she had ulcerative colitis.
Ulcerative colitis.
Yes. But she was having a lot of other symptoms, and both of us were kind of just, going back and forth. So I logged on to her Instagram one day, and I saw that she was doing this crazy meat diet. And I thought, first thing I thought, well, that's a crazy fad. Nobody would ever, she's going to die. You can't live on meat alone.
Right.
But then she put her first pictures, and she was next level, and her skin was glowing, and she was beautiful. And she said she never felt better. So I decided to give it a try. And I decided, like most people, I can do anything for 30 days.
Sure.
So tomorrow actually will be my carniversary. 1 year ago, my 30-day commitment started. Yeah. And I started to feel great within the first 2 weeks, because I took pictures at day 5 and day 14, and it was 2 different bodies that quickly. But within 4 months, my bald spots were filled in, and there was no new bald spots. And that was the first time in 7 years. So I thought, okay, I am onto something. There's no way I'm going back to what I used to eat. And I had quit drinking 5 years ago. So I think because I took alcohol out of the diet, my body wanted sugar. So I was eating a lot of sugar. So when I first came to Carnivore, and they talk about the trough or the keto, yes, I felt like a heroin addict. I was shaking and sweating, and I was just sick. Bad stomach. I couldn't leave home. It was horrible. And I kept reading, stick it out, stay the course, trust the process. And I was so grateful that I did, because once I got through to the other side, not only, and I didn't do it to lose weight. I was 132, 133 pounds. I'm 109 as of yesterday.
Wow.
And and I'm muscular and lean, and I am going to be 53 years old in a couple of weeks. And
oh my gosh.
For the first time in my life. So, and I'm in these yoga classes with these 20-year-old girls, and I'm doing stuff, and they're like, yeah, I don't know how
I mean, just in our video right now, I could see your very, very chiseled muscles in your arms.
It still shocks me sometimes. I'll walk by when I get out of the shower, and I'm like, oh, hey.
That's amazing. So it took about 4 months to kind of heal from all the alopecia and all the other symptoms. What about your joint and your back pains?
No, the joint and back pain was really quick. I would say within the first 30 days. But the 4 months was where the hair was grown back and had no longer fallen out. So, and then at 6 months, I was starting to see like a really lean, strong physique. And now, a year in, I'm in the gym, and a lot of the boys are like, I can't believe the weight you can lift. And I was never a morning person. I'm waking up in the morning. I'm clear-headed. I have no more brain fog. I was thinking I'm going to be an early candidate for dementia because I couldn't remember anything. And it feels like I have a new lease on life. Like when you go onto these chat groups and people are like, is this way of life just too good to be true? I can't speak for anyone but me. And based on empirical evidence, I'm telling you, this thing has saved my life. And so I've taken what I have learned through the process and all the research that I've done, because we live in the information age. Everything we need is at our fingertips.
Yes.
And you go into the chat rooms and you connect with people like yourself and with like Healthy with Nicole, and you get the information that you need, and you take what works for you and you discard what doesn't serve you, and you come up with your own way. So that's what I've done, is I've developed a 30-day program for women, but it is based highly on meditation, weight training, and the carnivore diet.
That's pretty awesome. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested, and then I'll just link to it in the notes. Yogi sort of world believes in no harm, and so that's why a lot of people turn vegetarian. So how did you sort of balance that and, eating animals and being okay with that?
Well, you know what? This is what I tell people now, because I know it works and I'm so healthy, is that how I vote, how I worship, and what I eat is not up for debate. Those are mine. I own them. And so that's how I do no harm. Because if I'm not working correctly, I can't be of service to others.
Thank
And
you.
because meat is how I work the best, then you need me to eat meat so that I can help others. But I did actually for a retreat last year to go to Bali. And I gave the deposit, and then a week later they sent me the information, and it was a vegan retreat. And so I respectfully wrote back and said, I apologize, but that goes against what I do. I'm anti-vegan basically, and a big meat eater. And they said, well, we're not refunding you your money, and we want you to eat all of your meals off property, away from everyone else, so you don't ruin the experience for the vegan people. And I really had to meditate on that because my ugly came out. I was kind of Sean Baker-ish, I'm not gonna lie. I got very defensive about it because it's been so enormously helpful in healing my body. And so it was like telling me my baby was ugly.
Yeah. So how did you handle that then? Did you actually end up going, and then did you eat off property?
No, I actually, because she wrote to me, this young girl, and she's, a yoga teacher, and she told me, you need to study ahimsa, the practice of doing. And I said, actually, babe, you know what? I've forgotten what you don't even know yet. So I know about ahimsa, and it begins with doing no harm towards self. So I can't harm myself by eating fruits and vegetables to make your life more comfortable. And I ended up calling my credit card company, canceling $600, getting my money back. And I ended up going to Thailand with a bunch of meat eaters.
Wow, that's amazing. That's the biggest, I think, discrepancy I find in the whole vegan movement. So I was vegetarian for about 12 years, and I get all of it. I've watched Earthlings and I've watched all those documentaries, right? I get the animal harm and, but it's the circle of life. But what I don't get is, I get that we should be kind to animals ourselves, but then why are they not so kind to other humans that are not
beings? Exactly.
Right? Like other human beings that may not eat the way you do. The lack of compassion there is where I kind of struggle with that. But, it's not what I'm not out here to sort of battle the vegans, so I don't try to even like touch that. I hope that my evidence-based information will maybe make them question behind closed doors. Well, why do I have all this gut health? Why do I have aches? Why don't I feel that good? Why is my skin not the best quality? Why is my hair falling out? And so hopefully that will kind of motivate them, but I'm not trying to fight them. But, I do wonder, it's so weird. Like they practice the, be kind, no harm, but selectively, right?
Yeah, because they're actually the nastiest of them all. And you know what? I just subscribe to the you do you. And when they tell me, well, this is what I do, I say, I'm so glad that you found what works for you. Yeah. You know what? And I leave it at that, because again, what I put in my body is not up for debate. I know what works for me. And so you do you, babe.
I love it. I love it. I love that so much. Okay, so what do you eat typically in a day? Do you count calories? Do you count macros, electrolytes, that type of thing?
No. And this is why I love the carnivore way of eating, because all of the other stuff that you do where you have to, I used to weigh my food and have this many blah blahs and that many, and check this. You know what? I got a busy life. I got things to do. So I don't have time for all that. What I do is I eat when I'm hungry. I eat until I'm full. So because I started doing intermittent fasting about 4 months in,
Okay.
I try to fast for a minimum of 18 hours a day. And usually I do OMAD, but it depends. If I do a hot yoga class and weight train, I'm starving. So I eat. I don't snack anymore, which is nice. But on the occasion, like we're on vacation right now, I'm in South Beach, Miami, Florida. We went out for gelato last night and I hadn't had gelato in a month. And I'm in I'm going to say this, I'm in full blown menopause. So I was having night sweats that were ridiculous
Oh,
and heart palpitations and like all of it, all of the things that you get that I was reading about. It was like, oh yeah, that check, check. So now that I'm doing carnivore, pretty much everything is easy peasy. But when last night I had gelato, I woke up in the middle of the night covered in blood. So I
I
know
believe it.
not for you.
So, on the carnivore diet, do you feel any of the menopausal, perimenopausal symptoms at all now?
No, it's amazing. And when I try to tell my clients this, because once I launched Soulful Savage, people of my age group were coming to me. Of course, women in their 50s were like, all right, my hashtag is this is 52. And they're like, wait, you're 52 and you look like that. Okay, tell me what your secret is. But
Right.
it's not an easy process. It takes dedication, determination, and desire. But you know what? When you get your health back, there's nothing that you won't do. And going back to where I started, is so far off my radar. It's not even an option for me anymore, Judy, because I was depressed. I mean, I had anxiety. I felt ugly. My skin was bad. My hair, I was bald headed. I mean, come on, we're women. These are important things to us. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you tell me. I don't care what I look like. We do. And
Yeah.
so, you know what? Now that everything is put together, it's that inside job, right? And I always say, with what I'm teaching people, we go deep. We're gonna uncover why you're doing the things you're doing. Why don't you think you're worthy of eating the good food that's going to make you feel healthy? Why do you feel like you have to eat ice cream at midnight, or have a Slurpee and ice cream, or whatever it is that you're doing? Why do
Right.
you need to do that? Let's uncover that. Let's meditate on it. Every week I give you a set of 5 questions, and they're pretty deep questions. And, I tell you, here's your questions, meditate on them, answer them, and then send them back to me because you're putting them in the universe. And we do 3 things that you're grateful for every day. Every day you write down what your why is. Every single day you tell me something that you absolutely love about yourself. And once a week you do a random act of kindness for somebody else because we vibrate higher when we're putting out positive vibes.
Yes, I absolutely love that. I mean, that was part of the Carnivore 75 Hard movement is a lot of times, even after we learn about nutrition, right, and what the good foods are to feed our bodies, sometimes it doesn't stick, right? The habits don't stick. And so this is where mindset is so important. And that's why for you, for meditation and yoga and all those things, they allow these habits, these new habits to stick, and then remember why you're not touching the sugars and now eating, animal-based foods that will nourish your bodies and let you have your most optimal life. And so I think your program sounds wonderful. It's those are all the components you do need to thrive. And then secondly, the fact that you're talking about how you personally struggled with certain hormonal issues as you're going through menopause. I have so many women that talk about, well, you're not at the age of menopause or perimenopause, so you don't really understand. But so I take these exogenous estrogen, or, I'm like a little low in estradiol or estrogen. And so I'm taking some of the creams. It shouldn't be that bad. And the endocrine system is so complicated. It touches upon so many different organs, your HPA axis. There's so many things. And when you just interject one hormone when you don't know what part is broken, I think it's very dangerous. But that's the solution, that's the band-aid, even in our holistic health world and even in this carnivore world. And so I love that you are saying, no, eat your meat, heal your body, and then work on like de-stressing with and mindset and all these components of loving yourself, valuing yourself, right?
Yes, know that you are worthy of all
Yes.
of it. Get through it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I've had a few people on social media that would reach out to me and say that they have the night sweats, and I'm like, you have to let go of the sugars and also the stress, right? Because stress is huge.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
there are some people that I know let go of sugar, but then their adrenals are still the symptoms of their adrenals it shows that they still need a lot of support, and I think it's because they're not letting go of certain stressors in their body, and so they still have like, hey, I've been eating carnivore for 6 months and I still have all the menopausal symptoms that you all say that I'm not going to have, but then they're still taking like some of the estrogen creams, so you know.
Yes. Right. And they're doing all those other little things. You just make slight tweaks, right? And I know that when I first got started, it was eat meat, use salt, drink water, the end. But you have so many questions. And my clients come to me and they're like, what about this? What about that? What about this? You know what? Is it meat? Did it fly? Did it swim? Did it roam? You can eat it. You know what? And then we're going to move to where it's only going to be beef, salt, and water. And when we get to that point, after you have adapted, we're going to start adding things back in to see how you feel. Oh, okay, that makes sense. But I tell you, they call me, what about this? What about this?
Oh yeah.
So it's as simple as it is hard. And there's so many different meat products and, what
Yes.
about salami? What about hot dogs? And, it's, it's all about fine tuning, but I, I just find that if you stop trying to make everything so hard, it's
Hmm.
really,
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think unfortunately what happens is as we many people get interested into carnivore, then they start hearing like the different versions, right? Some people eat only meat and water, some people eat the organ meat, some people eat the
right.
processed meats, and then people start thinking, wait, how much do I have to eat in a day? And it's, let's just make it very simple, right? And at first, as you transition, eat anything that was made from meat based, and then as you kind of get past the sugars and the cravings, then start cutting where you can start eating more of the natural meats, and then you'll feel better and better. What do you eat in a day?
Now that I've healed my body, I'm much more open to the variety of meats.
Okay.
I try not to eat too much pork, but pork belly is definitely a big favorite of mine if I need to really eat more fat.
Hmm.
But most of the time, like I said, I try to stick to OMAD unless I'm training hard. And by training hard, by the way, I used to work out 6 or 7 days a week. Like there was always some running, something cycle class and yoga and spin and weights. And I was doing all of the things. So now I literally train 3 days a week. I
Oh
no
wow.
longer, yeah, I don't do cardio anymore because it puts me in that fight or flight. And I found that
Yes.
that's my belly fat, right? Up in that cortisol. So I'll walk, I'll take my walks and just to get some vitamin D, get the sun in my hair. And I do lots of weight training. So I've learned that now I need that bone density, right?
Yes.
So I've got to increase my muscle mass, and that's why I started lifting heavier, and I'm on my yoga mat. So between yoga and weight training, that's pretty much it. And that's the first thing I have to tell my clients because a lot of them are the cardio queens,
Yes. Oh
they're
yeah.
not that sweat on, and I'm like, that could be the problem. Like, okay, first and
Yes.
foremost.
Yes.
But when I eat, it's usually I try to eat like a ribeye or a
Okay.
rib and bacon, or if I'm on the go, Laura Staff, I'll stop at In and Out and get like 10 burger patties. But
Okay.
yeah, if I'm doing OMAD, I'll eat a really big ribeye with bacon. Everything's cooked in butter or ghee. That's it. Lots of steak. But like last night, oh, I actually posted a picture on Instagram where I got a tomahawk steak at Quality Meats in Miami. It was so good. But I also had the meat and cheese board because we got here on our weight trained and then went for a 5 mile walk with my husband. So it just depends. But eat when you're hungry, eat till you're full, and eat good meat.
So, do you eat a lot of dairy? I know you just said you ate some cheese, but do you typically eat dairy in a day? And then what about like those the sausages, hot dogs, that type of meat?
I if I'm out somewhere and that's what there is and I'm hungry, I
Mhm.
will. But no, as a general rule, I try to order. Like I actually just went for a lunch because we're here with another couple, and
Okay.
I had steak fajitas. That was it, just the steak. No vegetables, no beans, no rice, no tortillas. And they're like, okay, just a plate of meat. So yeah, that's all I want.
Okay.
Um, But yeah, I would just say to anyone that's starting, when you start again, right, we're eating all of the animal products, but in order to find out, excuse me, what works for your body, you have to start weaning those out. And then when you get to a place where you're healthy, you can put them back in and see what agrees with you and what doesn't.
I love it. It's yeah, I'm totally on the same page with you. So in terms of your workouts, when you say that you lift heavy, so in those 3 days, can you kind of talk about how much you lift or and how often in that day or how
Yeah.
much time?
If I usually go to a hot yoga class and then from there I'll walk into the weight room and do back and buys. But I'll do, I'll max out. So I'll do 4 sets and I go heavy, heavy, heavier. And then if I'm doing a lighter weight, I'll do heavy, higher reps.
Okay.
So I do military presses. I use 30-pound dumbbells, which is pretty, 30-pound dumbbells for somebody that's 5'3", 109 pounds. This is a lot of weight.
Yes, yes.
I try to use 3 plates on each side when I do leg presses, squats, and I bench press. And I do, all the boy things, all the boy weights. So, but I don't use the little girl cookie pounds, the 5, 10, 15-pound weights. I try to go anything over 25 is about where I'm at.
So I'm only asking because I know a lot of women are afraid of building, they're like, well, I'll build muscle once I lose my fat because they're afraid that they're going to build muscle on top of their fat and then they'll have these really big bulky arms. And so that's why I was just asking.
Well, that makes me laugh because I mean,
Yeah.
for us to end up looking like men, we probably have to have a little hormonal help there. But
Yes.
once we start shedding down the body fat, we're going to need to build that muscle.
Yes.
It just for health purposes. And if your goal, if it's in your mindset that you don't want to lift heavy, heavy weights, that's fine. Then take a 10-pound weight and do 15 to 20 reps.
Yeah.
You know what? As long as you're lifting weights and building some muscle, I'm happy with you. But
Yeah.
for
No.
me, I prefer to be leaner and toner. So I lift heavy stuff.
How long did it take you to notice the difference hormonally? So when you were going through those like hot flashes, like as you were eating meat, how long was the transition? So like one, how long did you go through that keto flu, and then when did you start feeling a lot better? And then two, with the hormonal, those hot flashes, those feelings, how long did it take for you to feel like you normalized with those?
Well, I think with I can tell you the keto flu lasted 2.5, maybe 3 weeks.
Okay,
And for the first few days, I was miserable. I mean,
I know the feeling.
I thought I was going to die. And I dragged myself into yoga. And I remember after class, I was sitting on my mat and I thought, I don't have the energy to roll up my mat, walk through the gym, and take the stairs to get to my car. How am I going to get home? I'm going to have to live in the gym. I mean, I was just that depleted. And so, because when you start and you don't have somebody guiding you, you don't know what you're doing. So I definitely wasn't eating enough fat for starters. And then I'm like, you start thinking as a woman, well, if I eat all this fat, I'm going to get fat.
Yes.
You don't realize you eat fat to lose fat.
Right.
An adjustment period. We have to wrap our minds around it. We have to let go of everything that we think we know. I'm doing everything completely opposite of what I had been taught for the
Yes.
majority of my life. And I'm finally thriving. So, when I meet new people, and for instance, the couple that we're in Florida with, both of them, they're runners. And we're sitting at dinner last night and I ordered this tomahawk steak and the meat and cheese board. And I'm just like, no fruits, no vegetables, no ice. No, and their mouths are, well, you're going to have a heart attack. You're going to get anal cancer. You're going to get. And I'm like, it's funny when I was eating donuts and pancakes and waffles and all the candy bars, everyone was like, oh, Sonja. But now I'm eating meat and people are freaking out and telling me how
Oh
I'm going
yeah, all the time, all the time. I always get the big-eyed, wait, you eat no carbs, so not even vegetables? And I'm like, oh
Oh, yeah.
no. In my mind, I'm just like, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's a nice way to break it down too, because like for my clients, I always tell them, here's the deal. I know you love vegetables. I actually loved vegetables. I loved them. I ate them 5 times a day. That was
Yep.
my go-to. Those were my smart carbs. But animals can run away from predators. Plants cannot. So plants have things inside of their bodies to keep predators from eating them. Your body can't digest that. And when you break it down simply, I think they start to go, oh, wait, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what? Why do you have little holes in your gut? From oxalates poking holes in your gut. Don't eat foods with that.
Right.
Anything with an oxalate, why don't you just not eat that? Oh, that makes sense. So, I mean, we just have to make it simple because that's how I needed to receive the information. So
Right.
I think the goal is to be able to deliver it in a way that you were able to receive it without, I would watch some doctors on YouTube and I was like, you're speaking Japanese. I literally don't know what you're talking about. But just to break it down to simple facts, right? And now I always tell people, look, lions don't eat rabbit food. They eat rabbits for food and they are the king of the jungle.
Yeah, I know. I hear already the arguments of people going, well, we don't have the same digestive system. But yeah, no, I totally understand. I'm on the same page. I use that all the time. I said, hey, look, animals can run, but what do plants have? They have phytochemicals. Like, why is it that there are plants like poison ivy that we know can kill us? Don't you think every plant has some type of toxins? But and it becomes, when you make it so logical, then it becomes difficult for them to question. And then I always use oxalates is a best example because tried and true, when somebody has kidney stones, doctors in the standard care will put them on a low oxalate diet. And so I'll just go, look, if you don't believe me about spinach, go look up kidney stone diet with low oxalates. Go look up the University of Chicago, Harvard University. They all have it, and they say do not eat spinach. And so that's where their mind is like, right? So that's sort of where you can start, and it's just fun, right? But sometimes it's just,
it's fun because we've educated ourselves, but to them, it's like they get defensive and they want to fist fight.
Oh yeah, they have to get, and I always say this too, but they have to get defensive because if they don't, then if they totally agree with the way you're eating, then inherently the way they're eating is wrong, right? So
right, then we're calling their baby ugly.
Yes. Exactly. You know, the funny thing is, so as you're talking about the running bit, so it's true. Our bodies are not meant to really run that long. If you think about hunter-gatherers, they walked for long amounts of time and then they would rest. So running is actually a stressor on our bodies. And up to a certain point, it could be beneficial. You'll release antioxidants to recover your muscles. But over time, actually, it can cause more damage. And I write about this in my book, but there's a few books that talk about it too, but definitely running a long time is not ideal for anybody. And it actually it does a significant amount of damage in your body that it makes you sicker. So for example, when people run marathons, a lot of them get the cold after. And the reason is your immune system takes a hit. And it's, right? So you might want to.
The woman I'm with was just saying, she just did a half marathon. And she's like, and then my immune system is so down and out. And
Yes.
Unless you're coming to me and asking for my advice, I'm not just going to tell you how to do you.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's smart because I don't think no matter how much you try to give evidence to somebody or, you know, make the greatest point, if they're not ready, they're not willing to hear you. And that's one of the biggest things I've learned with clients and just all the people I've worked with. So do you take any supplements? Do you take any electrolytes?
I do. I actually, well, that was one that I learned the hard way because I started getting cramps in my legs at night.
Okay.
And then I had to get up and Google what the hell is happening to me. So yeah, I introduced electrolytes into my system, and now I don't do them as often. When I first started, I was doing them on the daily. So now it's just kind of as needed with the electrolytes. But as far as supplements go, I've taken out every single supplement, but I cannot stomach organ meats. They just, so I take the ancestral supplement.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I do every single week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think organ meat is an acquired taste, and so I totally get it. I still have a hard time eating beef liver, and so I try to kind of go with the fish variety. So like the cod livers and the fish eggs, like those are more palatable to me. I just can't get them as every day because they're very expensive. Were you on supplements before? Did you take anything for your
I took vitamin D, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin everything. A daily vitamin, multivitamin, iron. I did everything that I was told as a woman I was going to need as I got older for my bones and for my hair and for my skin and for my nails. And so I was taking all of the supplements, just gobs and gobs. And, you know, now that you do the research and how much of that is actually breaking down and getting into your system the way it's supposed to. And when you look at what meat has to offer, if I'm getting everything from eating this and I'm satiated and I don't have to eat 16 times a day, I'm just going to go with the simpler, healthier way to live.
Did you take any of the like hormonal things for your perimenopause, or were you taking anything for that stuff? Okay.
No,
Oh, that's smart.
no, I was against it 100%. So I was definitely looking for the holistic way to do that. And that's again, you go see the doctor. Oh, well, you're perimenopausal. Let me write your prescription for this and that. And I was like, no, not. And then I saw the endocrinologist, and they said, oh, well, you know what you're telling me? It's your thyroid. Oh, no, it's got to be rheumatoid arthritis. You've got to have the. Everybody they were guessing. So I would highly suggest to anyone who is suffering, do your work, do the research, find out what works for you, right? I mean, we come about this, and I've perfected it for my body by doing the research. So, if you're sitting around waiting for someone to tell you, I don't live in your body. I can't tell you what's going to work for you. I can teach you what I know and what's worked for me, but you're going to have to tweak it to work for you.
Yes, that's very good. I am totally on the same page. Let's shift a little bit and talk about yoga. So I know you have been practicing yoga and meditation for about 20 years. You said it's saved your life, but you also said that you struggled with depression prior to eating meat. So it seems like there was a little bit of a gap between just practicing yoga, meditation, and being able to fully not have those, like the mental health aspects. How do you view yoga and, eating carnivore and in terms of mental health and healing?
Well, I would say that if your insides don't match your outsides, then you're not balanced, right? So while I was showing up on my mat and I was going through the motions, which is something that we do through life, we show up and we go through the motions. But because I was so ill, I wasn't able to find that happy medium. I think definitely by changing my diet and turning to carnivore and giving up alcohol, you know what, when I got sad, it was like, oh, I'm sad, I should have a glass of wine. Or, you know what, oh, yay, I'm happy, I should have a glass of wine. Or, you know what, I'm breathing, I should have a glass of wine. And I was putting on weight. And because I had so many other symptoms, I thought, that was the first thing I took out was the alcohol. All right, I'm going to remove that. I know that's not good for me. I should be feeling better. I felt better, but I didn't feel great. And then other symptoms started to come into play. So yeah, while I was showing up on my mat, doing quote unquote the asanas, doing the movements and the poses,
Yes.
my mind wasn't really fully connected because I didn't have a mind-body connection. I didn't understand why I was doing everything that I was taught was healthy and I was suffering so much. So I would, just shaking my little fist up at the heavens saying, why me? Instead of, drilling down and figuring out for myself. So again, once I came to figure out, all right, this meat diet, this way of life, this is a lifestyle. This isn't something that you do and you try and you tinker with. And if you want to change your life, then you commit to this, like I committed to yoga. So once the two things were in harmony, it's the problem solver. Now I come to my mat, I can actually bend down and touch my toes because I don't have that back pain. When I'm laying there, I'm not thinking, oh my God, I'm in so much agony. Because to me, yoga is a metaphor for life. You get in these poses and it's really uncomfortable sometimes. But if you just breathe, you can get through it. And that's how life is. No matter how uncomfortable a situation is, if you just breathe, you're going to get through it.
Okay, no, that's really good. Have you seen other improvements in meditation?
Yes, I will tell you, and that's why it's one of the core values of my 30-day program. My clients have to meditate. They start off for 5 minutes because a lot of people have a hard time just sitting still for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we move to 10, and by the end of 30 days, you're meditating for 20 minutes a day. And you have your questions, that you can think about, marinate, and that's one way of doing it. But one of the biggest things that I teach them is just breathing exercises. If you just inhale to 4, hold up to your third eye for 3 counts, exhale to 8. The one time in our life that we're 100% present is when we're concentrating on our breath. So no matter what the situation, when we get scared, when we get anxious, when we get depressed, if you just close your eyes and do those breathing exercises, it's going to calm you down in every single respect, and you're going to be able to go about your day. So when I introduce people to meditation, a lot of times I'm working with type A personalities and they don't know how to slow down. So just asking them to sit still in a quiet room with their eyes closed and to be present for 5 minutes is ridiculously hard for them. So introducing the breath to them, giving them the questions to think about, it starts to become, now I can do this, but now I want to do this longer. And now every time I'm faced with a situation that I don't want to deal with or makes me uncomfortable, I can say, you know what, I'm going to take a beat, go do a quick meditation and come back. And it's like a reset. So it enhances your frequency, right? It helps you to vibe a little bit higher when you're not snapping people's heads off.
That's so good. I totally agree with you. So I actually went to eating disorder therapy, and so it was this outpatient care for 10 hours. And my favorite class was meditation because I never did it before, and I'm very type A. And so it was the first time they'd be like, just think about the room, hear the sounds in the room. And I remember my mind would race and think about other things, my to-do list and all that. And eventually I got there and it was amazing. It was amazing to realize even in noise that you can kind of clear your mind and then just, get back into your own space and have peace. And it was so fascinating to go through that for the first time that now I'm like a big believer in meditation and just seeing the scientific studies, how it increases like your chromosomes and longevity and a ton of other stuff. Like, so it's so great though. You were able to summarize it in such an eloquent way.
Well, and when I teach private lessons and I have someone on their mat, I'll do a guided meditation.
Okay.
And I'll actually have them, you're on a beach, you can feel the sand underneath you, you hear somebody laughing down the beach, and it's a little kid, and you see that kid frolicking, and you realize that was little you. And you race down to them, and you pick them up and you hold them and you tell them, you're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. I've had people just break open and bawl their eyes out, and then they get up and they need to be held, and they're like, oh my gosh, I was there, I was in it. And you know what? And I always say, what would you tell your little self? What would you tell yourself to come into now? And when they meditate on that stuff, that's the work, right? When we open up and realize, all right, this is why I have this bad behavior. And if I love myself, if I truly know what my worth is, I don't need to repeat those bad behaviors. And that's how we begin to heal from our traumas.
Yes, that's very powerful. I think again, that's where it goes back to, even if we learn to eat a carnivore diet, it's healthy, we believe in it. But if we don't fix these core struggles that we have, we're going to end up in times of trauma again. We'll end up going back to the comforts that we've used. And so saying that, you've mentioned that you've used alcohol and that you also liked a lot of sugar. So what have you sort of replaced that with?
Oh, just yoga. Yoga. That's literally my new drug. And, I've had friends say, well, you just replaced one thing with another. Well, yeah, but this thing is good. So yoga's my drug.
So when you're really upset or, some days if you like kind of crave the alcohol or the sugar, you just go, I'm going to get on my mat.
Oh, I get on the mat. Yes. Yeah. I crank the music up and just flow to my heart's content. And that's the thing is that, you know what? A lot of times we carry things. If we sit at desks all the time, our shoulders are down. And I used to struggle when I first came to my mat with heart openers, back bending, camel pose, anything that opens our heart, because I carried so much junk in here. So just that act of opening up and releasing and breathing, and you get to know your body so well. And then after every single practice, I'm able to sit there in meditation and say, thank you, beautiful, strong body, for carrying me to my mat and getting me through this practice. I must love myself so much to give myself this gift.
Wow, that's so powerful. That's amazing. I'm sure people are going to try it after listening to this. So for people that haven't really done yoga or meditation, how would you recommend them to kind of get started?
You know what? It's so easy now. There's a million apps you could download. I think there's an app called Downward Dog or Down Dog or something. But you can start there or go to YouTube videos and download videos of beginner yoga. And a lot of people are self-conscious about getting on a mat in front of people because what do we think? I'm going to look stupid. But what yoga teaches us is it's not called hisga or herga. It's yoga. So you do you, right? You're on your mat, and it really, it asks us to disrupt what we think we know about things. Yoga invites us to disrupt. So I tell my movers, my yogis, I want you to just, when I turn that music up, you just close your eyes, you breathe. If you're breathing and you're moving, you cannot get this wrong. It's not about me, it's about you. This is your time, your gift to yourself. Don't worry about what's going on anyone else's mat, because this is an opportunity for you at your Church of Four Corners to get to know who you are and what you're made of.
Yes, that's so good. When you're trying to get those poses down, you cannot concentrate on anything else or you will fall. And so
That's right. You know what? And if you're just concentrating on your breath, you know what? That's all you have to do is listen. That's why we call it Ujjayi pranayama, which is victorious breath. It has sound, it has texture. So when you're breathing, I always tell them, sound like Darth Vader. And when you're listening, every single movement has a breath, right? Inhales tend to expand, exhales tend to contract. So just when you're contracting, you're exhaling. Inhale deeply, exhale. And when you're listening to your breath and you're moving, you stop thinking about what's going on and how it's about you and you. And so that's why it's the greatest gift to yourself.
There are a lot of people that believe, well, for your thyroid, you can't go too low of carbs. For your hormonal health, you can't go too low of carbs. And then as you are getting older, sometimes it's just better for your body to, not eat just meat-based. So, and then to take those exogenous hormones, which basically didn't exist even 100 years ago, by the way. But anyways, what would be your advice? Because I know there's a lot of doubters. And so within a few weeks, if they don't see the changes in the hot flashes, they're back to their creams because, hey, they feel better.
Right. And that's the easy fix, right? It's just like taking aspirin when you have a headache. For women that are saying that I didn't do this to lose weight, I did this to heal my body. The weight loss was just like an added bonus. I think, again, it's based on what works for your body. So you have to figure it out. A lot of the time when women come to me, they're like, well, my doctor says, and your doctor doesn't live in your body. So I'm offering you a solution, and you can either accept what I'm offering you and you can try it, or you can run back to home base to what you know is safe. But if what you know is safe is not working for you, then why not take the time, effort, and energy to love yourself enough to just trust the process and move forward? I can just say that for myself, switching to the carnivore way of life has made 100% of a difference. I don't have the symptoms that I had. I don't have that belly fat that I was carrying around. I don't have the aches and pains. I don't have the night sweats. I don't have the scatterbrain. I mean, all of the things that you read about that people are experiencing when they go through menopause. Turning to this way of life has completely changed the game for me. So, you know what? And my doctor was like, well, we'll write your prescription for this. This ought to make you feel better. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. Personally, I wanted to find a more homeopathic way to deal with things. And so I did. And I would say, you know what? You don't need that stuff. You don't need it. Just like when we were kids and they gave us the food pyramid at school, right? How many times has that been turned upside down now? Every single thing that we think we know ends up being dispelled by something else. So just listen to people who are doing it and trust yourself enough to get through it. I think you just have to get through the process. And it is a breakthrough because, like I said, the first few weeks of this, I was like, I'm out of my mind. I'm going to die. There's no way I can live with this. And now, you know what? I'm walking and talking and singing and praising it.
Yeah, no, people have to go through that kind of like weeding out process, I feel like. And then once you hit that kind of zen where you don't have the sugar cravings and you can look at sugary foods and not feel any emotion or, salivation or anything, that's when you know you're there. And it's something that you cannot explain to someone unless they try it themselves. Right?
And you know what? When people say to me, you don't eat carbs, you don't eat sugar, how do you treat yourself? It's like, have you ever had a 28-ounce bone-in ribeye cooked in butter? That's a treat, baby.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. You have been amazing. You're so funny. I love it. So where can people find you? And if you could just share a little bit of where people can reach you in your program.
Okay, sure. My Instagram is Sonja Graf, SonjaGraff as in Frank. You can email me at Sonja, Sonja, at soulfulsavagewellness.com. And I have my 30-day programs, and we start there. And if you want to be introduced to carnivore and meditation and yoga and fitness, I'm your gal.
Well, I will link to all that information in the notes. And so thank you so much for joining me. This has been amazing. This has been so much fun. I genuinely
Thank
enjoyed
you
the
so
conversation.
much for having me, Judy. I've
No,
enjoyed.
Sonja, I needed people to know more about you. So I love this. Thank you so much. And I'm so happy you are healing. Your husband must be so happy.
My husband is not only so happy, my husband dropped 25 pounds on the carnivore diet. And
Oh, so he's doing carnivore too?
yes, and if you've seen his pictures, don't tell him I told you, but he's 64 years old,
Oh,
and he
wow.
is a stud.
Oh, that is amazing. Yeah, I'll have to definitely get your pictures and then I'll share, but
Okay.
that's amazing. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. I will talk to you soon. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Judy. Bye.
Bye, Sonja. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation with Sonja. She is an amazing individual, and I'm sure you guys saw it. She is so funny, and she is just real. I hope that you guys realize that you can do carnivore even if you're perimenopausal, menopausal, and you do not have to take exogenous hormonal medicines. Yes, there may be a period where your body has to transition and figure out a new balance without exogenous hormones. But if you guys think about it, even 100 years ago, we didn't have these creams and medicines. I'm not saying that everyone should get it off it. Obviously, work with your doctor, but it's something to consider. All right, guys, you know the drill. Take care of yourselves, eat a lot of meat, and take care of your bodies because it is the only place you have to live. All right, guys, I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.